UFC Paris Fight Night just happened an hour ago. My name is Mr. Fight Companion, and let's break down what happened in every fight on the card, punch by fucking punch. First up, Balaji Oki versus Chris Duncan. I had Balaji Oki winning. I thought he was going to utilize his reach. Didn't end up doing so. Let Chris Duncan get in close. Chris Duncan, both fighters went to the ground. Chris Duncan was able to get a guillotine, lock the guillotine in, and then before you knew it, Balaji Oki was asleep, but nobody actually knew it. Like, nobody realized he was asleep until it was real fucking late. Balaji Oki was limp, didn't really move, and then Chris Duncan realized it before the ref had to point it out, and basically, essentially, ref his own fucking fight. Chris Duncan wins. Congratulations to him. Moving on. Nora Carnell versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. This fight was exactly as the bettors really had it going. Cavalcanti basically dominated in every facet of this fight, and then just won by decision. I mean, Carnell was there. Carnell did kind of fight back in certain aspects, but Cavalcanti, justifiably did win that fight. Moving on. These are two fights I got wrong because I had Carnell win that one too. Next up, Daniel Barres versus Victor Altamirano. Here's the thing, okay, and I got this one wrong too, and then this was before I had to go out. I had to step out of my house, and I'm like, okay, fuck, I'm 0-3. So the rest of this card might not be good for me, so it ended up not being so. Daniel Barres came out there, looked excellent on the feet. Altamirano tried to hang with him with the striking and attempted 2 fucking takedowns. Mind you, Barres, as I said in the previous video, is not that great on the ground. I don't really think his ground game is that great, especially compared to Altamirano. But I guess Altamirano decided to fucking ignore that, not go for his opponent's weakness, and try to strike with him and attempt 2 shitty takedowns. 2 shitty, crappily timed takedowns. That was it. The rest of the fight was complete domination by Barres. Altamirano had some moments, but ultimately got dropped twice or 3 times throughout the fight. The biggest moment was in the first round where Barres landed a heavy overhand that just sent Victor Altamirano to the shadow realm for like 5 seconds before he was able to recover, luckily, but even recovering didn't do him any justice because in the last 10 seconds of the fight in general, Altamirano got dropped. So it doesn't even fucking matter. Basically, essentially domination by Barres. Again, Altamirano had some moments, which I think led one of the judges. Oh, never mind. No, all 3 judges had Barres winning. Never mind. On to the next. This was a controversial fight I told you guys about. Aylin Perez, very entertaining fighter, again, known for the twerking, all that other shit, versus Daria Zeleznyakova. I had Zeleznyakova because she's the longer fighter. She has a reach. She could utilize that jab way better, try to keep Aylin Perez at bay, and also, set up a heavy cross with the jab, So, that could lead to a really heavy 1-2 that could, ultimately earn her the win. Didn't do that. Aylin Perez was able to really get up close and personal with Zeleznyakova. Was ultimately able to bring that fight to the ground and won in round 1 via submission. In round 1 via fucking submission. Brought Zeleznyakova to the ground and secured a choke. I forgot what choke it was. I really forgot which one it was, but either way, brought the longer fighter to the ground, and being long, not a really great thing to be, when grappling. Sometimes, I guess, if you have a really, really high grappling IQ, but I imagine Zeleznyakaova's grappling IQ isn't really that high, especially after this performance. But anyway, great win by Aylin Perez. And she looks really great, and she may, go on to do amazing things in women's MMA because she really does look good. She looked really great against Zeleznyakova, and she did everything a shorter fighter is supposed to do right against the taller fighter. So great for Aylin Perez, and look forward to seeing what she does in the future. Moving on to Taylor Lapilus versus Vince Morales. I actually missed this fight, but from what I've seen with the the stats and everything, he pretty much outclassed Vince Morales. So great for him, good on him. And because I didn't get to see it, I'm gonna have to skip over it and go to the next. Next up, Ludovic Klein versus Roosevelt Roberts. I also missed this fight, but from what again I've seen with stats, it's exactly as I said it was going to be. Roberts just got outclassed. Roosevelt Roberts is not really a high level fighter. Maybe he is, but the UFC is just not the place for him. He seems to get outmatched way more often than not. And that's just his reality, moving on. And I like Roosevelt Roberts too, but that's just a sad fact, Next up, Umar Sy versus Da Woon Jung. Great fight. I didn't see most of it, but, unanimous decision. Umar Sy, from the looks of it, was able to do what he does best, take his opponent to the ground and dominate. Great on him. I look forward to seeing what he does in the future at light heavyweight, because there are a lot of guys who like a solid ground game guy would be a bad matchup for a lot of these light heavyweights in the UFC. So I look forward to seeing what he can do, especially against a Khalil Roundtree or a Yuri Prohaska, Next up, another light heavyweight bout. This was Ion Cutelaba versus Ivan Erslan. I was very fucking depressed after this, after seeing the outcome of this fight. Apparently Ion Cutelaba won. I missed this fight as well. Again, I missed a lot of these fights because I had a little family emergency, but I'm back, and I came back just in time because I saw a lot of the main event fights, but wasn't able to see a lot of the prelims. So, it is what it is. I really hate the fuck out of Ion Cutelaba. And I hope he gets knocked out in the future, but apparently didn't get knocked out in this fight and ended up winning by decision. So, and it was split decision. So bet that fight was pretty interesting. But this next fight was really interesting. Fares Ziam versus Matt Frevola. Really great fight. I had Matt Frevola because I am a Steamroller Frevola fan, but a big weakness for Frevola is breaking out of the clinch. I guess he's just really not aware. His mind is probably in scrambles when he kind of just removes himself from the clinch against his opponent, because that's that like gray area of space in a fight where it's like, when you're breaking out from wrestling or grappling with someone, that distance can really be used to someone's advantage, especially a striker, and that's what Fares Ziam did, or Ziam. Apologize if I'm butchering his name, but again, just looked really great in there, broke away from the clinch, grabbed Frevola's head and threw his head into his knee. I'm explaining this really awkwardly, but essentially what Fares Ziam did was grab Frevola's head and literally pull Frevola's head over and down into the knee of Fares Ziam. So Fares Ziam essentially just kneed Matt Frevola in the side of the head. He's a long, lanky fighter, so it's very possible for him to do that because he's got long legs, so he can really bring his knees up high without having to really jump or anything. So devastating knockout, highlight reel, looks really cool, great on Fares Ziam, and he's a lightweight fighter, so sky's the limit for him, really is. Again, that was another incorrect fight. I'm literally only had 2 fights right in this entire card. Next up, Morgan Charrier versus Gabriel Miranda. I had Gabriel Miranda. I felt like this was going to be a topsy-turvy fight. I thought that Morgan Charrier did have a strong chance to win, but I wanted to live on the wild side, and I felt like Gabriel Miranda he's a very slippery guy. He can really sneak in submissions and be real smooth with his ground game. But in the end, Charrier just fucking clipped him. Charrier looks really great. I don't know how he'll really do against the big featherweight names, but as far as cans go, or as far as the lower fighters go, he looks to be the big fish in a small pond. Next up, this was a okay. All right, this is what I've been excited to explain and talk about with you guys. I am now a big, very big fan of Bryan Battle. I love this guy. I thought he was Brazilian. That's on me for being racist, but I didn't. I thought he didn't speak a lick of English. I didn't bother to even look where he was from. But it turns out, full-blooded American, deep-ass voice, and very funny and very entertaining. After he beat Kevin Josette, he flipped off the crowd, essentially flipped off France in general, and then said something along the lines of, if you thought, if you thought the Butcher was going to lose in a fist fight to a French dude, you must be mistaken or some shit like that. But what he essentially was saying is that, the Butcher, aka Bryan Battle, would never lose in a fist fight against a French dude. Love it. Very, very much meme worthy. Very Chad-like. I love it. And let me explain their fight real quick too, though. I had Kevin Josette in this fight. I really liked his kickboxing, and I thought that he could do pretty good things against a guy like Bryan Battle. Bryan Battle has excellent kickboxing too, and really just looks like a heavier Charles Oliveira. But I had this belief in Kevin Josette. I felt like he could pull it out, especially in front of his hometown. That being said, the complete opposite happened. I like the first round with Kevin Josette. Kevin Josette was able to eat punches, and his takedown defense looked really great, very aggressive. And I thought that later in the fight he could really put Bryan Battle in some trouble. That ended up not happening. Bryan Battle stayed in front of the face of Kevin Josette, kept throwing and kept landing. Kevin Josette's hands were embarrassingly fucking slow. Kevin Josette's hands were embarrassingly fucking low, and it was just so sad to watch and see this guy quit. Kevin Josette quit in the cage. He let Bryan Battle tee off on him in both rounds. I think when was this fight stopped? Round 2. He let Bryan Battle tee off on him in every minute of this fight. Again, embarrassingly low hands. If you're gonna keep your hands low, throw your hands then. Punch. If you're gonna keep your hands low, then be active. Kevin Josette was inactive as hell, and to add on to his inactivity, his hands were low. You could be inactive, but still have your hands raised to defend your fucking head. He did the opposite. He deserved the loss. Bryan Battle wins. I love Bryan Battle now. I'm a big fan. He's very entertaining, and we need entertaining fighters in the UFC, and Bryan Battle is that. I love that energy. I love that speech. I love the mini celebrations he does with his corner. This one guy in his corner, he did that arm lock shit, that arm lock celebration. Loved it. Bryan Battle, incredible guy, incredible fighter. I hope he gets the belt soon. I'm a big Bryan Battle fan now. Consider me a fully locked on fan. This guy is cool. His voice is deep, full of style, full of moxie and spunk. Love this guy. Pause on the spunk, but a lot of moxie with him. Next up, featherweight bout between William Gomez and Joan Anderson Brito. I had Brito winning this fight because of how aggressive he is. He's extremely powerful, especially while he's on the ground. He can still throw punches like he's throwing them with full force using his hips. Instead, he let himself just get shut down by the length of William Gomez, who was able to utilize the jab cross, utilize his long legs with body kicks and leg kicks and head kicks to be able to just really keep Brito at bay. Even his clinch work was really good against Brito, And Brito came in there aggressive. He came in there with pressure. He came in there constantly moving forward. But Gomez was aware of this. He was calm a lot throughout the fight, and he just kind of just dismantled and nullified the power, the pressure, the strength, and the energy of Joan Anderson Brito. What more can I say? William Gomez looked really great in that fight and ultimately shut Brito down. Brito's got to work on that game plan against the taller fighter, even though it's featherweight, and Gomez is huge for featherweight. He's 6 foot for the featherweight division. I look forward to seeing what Gomez could do because, again, he's really fucking tall. Suppose he fights Ilia Topuria. Ilia's a great boxer, but can he fight a giant in his division? We got to wait and see. Next up, This was really depressing for me. Nasruddin Imavov versus Brendan Allen. I don't like Imavov. Call it what you will. Make it a race thing. I don't really care. I'm not an Imavov fan. All right. Still, he went out there and did it. He looked very great against Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen tried again and again and again to bring this fight to the ground, but every single shot, takedown, double leg that Brendan Allen shot, Nasruddin Imavov had a precise, crisp answer for it with excellent timely sprawls and just excellent takedown defense. Imavov looked great, and then on the feet, he looked even greater, landing almost everything he threw on the face of Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen has a chin, so he did survive it, but Imavov threw on he threw a fucking a striking clinic. You know, it was really great, really great fight for Imavov, won by unanimous decision. And I have to think about it, but right now, without looking at tape and doing all the research I have to do, I think Imavov beats Dricus. I gotta relook at it and come back to you guys with a full decision, but right now Imavov is looking real nice against Dricus, but I don't know. I think they'll give him the title shot next. He looks great. He honestly looks great. Shit performance for Brendan Allen. Looked slow. Looked real sloppy on the feet, and shot takedown sloppily. And faded as the fight went on. So he's got a lot to work on if he ever thinks he's going to be a big name at middleweight. Next up is the main event: Renato Moicano versus Benoit Saint-Denis. This was the fight I was most pissed about. I don't even give a fuck about getting only 2 fights right on this card. This fight was terrible, and it was only terrible because of the stoppage. In the first round, Moicano gets the takedown extremely early on Benoit Saint-Denis, which I was surprised about. Then both of them get into a grappling match, which Moicano then wins. Then he's able to get his way to a body lock and just ground and pound and elbow away at the head of Benoit Saint-Denis throughout the entirety of round 1. Renato Moicano put in work, bloodied up Saint-Denis' face. His face looked fucking malformed at the end of round 1, but he survived, and I was clapping. I was really proud of Saint-Denis for surviving and pushing it through round 1. But then round 2 came, and it was saddening to watch. Actually, no, it wasn't. Scratch that. Round 2 came, and it was prideful. I was really proud of Saint-Denis because he came out there swinging, and he won round 2. He won round 2. It's insane. I mean, his face was bloodied. He couldn't. His right eye swole up, or his left eye, one eye on his face swole up to a crazy amount, and he was still winning with the striking, and he beat Moicano in the second round. If that fight went on, I feel like Saint-Denis would have won it, but this bullshit doctor stopped the fight because he couldn't see out of his right eye. But we got a fighter like Michael Bisping, who fought in the UFC, who couldn't see out of his eye. So it doesn't really make sense. But you could yell at me, say whatever the fuck you will. I think that fight should not have been stopped. I think it should have kept going, and I think Benoit Saint-Denis would have won it. But it was stopped. They gave the fight to Moicano, and now Moicano, I think, called out Dan Hooker, but I'm not entirely sure. I think he will get Dan Hooker, but Moicano's pretty close to a chance at the belt. And I was saying he might even fight the winner of Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler, but who knows? Maybe they'll just give him Dan Hooker. And I'll have to really do some research on on which fighter wins between Moicano and Dan Hooker. But that's it. That's my rundown of UFC Paris Fight Night. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, guys. Please support me. I love each and every one of you, and I'll see y'all in the next. Love y'all.